The public will be given an opportunity to speak during the public open sessions. Offenders should not disclose the personal information of individuals. Protection rights claims. Those offenders are increasing item 1, we have the topics. Which is the minutes of the meeting of the public and open spaces committee held on Tuesday the 8th. We start off with the accuracy. Okay, so minutes of the 8th of June, this is page 7, it says, anything on page 7? Page 8? Page 9? Page 10? Page 12, page 13. Page 7.
Yeah, on item 5A, matters arising, referring to the previous item 6B, a couple of questions regarding the old depot. So firstly, can you confirm that it is now empty and that also while you're at it, is the chapel that was used as a workshop also empty? Secondly, has there been a survey in order to establish a value and any potential rental income value for the old workshop? And is there any update on the expression of interest or any other expression of interest that we might have?
Number one is the old depot, and also 2 houses are clear of everything. We have had a indication of value in the chartered surveyor, and they believe that if we were to rent out both of those buildings and the minor depot attached to it, it would be surrounded. But the asking price should be in the region of £5,000 per year. We have had the occasional expression of interest, and we have not actively tried to reach out yet for a very, very obvious reason. I spoke to an interested party this week, and they were surprised at the valuation. What I would rather do is I would like to consider with members when it's the right point in time the proper development and investment of across the whole tennis court bowl site. So we have a kind of inclusive view of that whole site. I've had some different conversations with people involved, etc. about how we might in the future look towards creating a bigger way tennis club. Yeah. And I've spoken to 3 other interested parties tennis club who might be professional supporters and LTA. What I would like to do is to see it as a kind of integrated offer for all of the kind of all the buildings together. What I don't want to do is to kind of preempt that and potentially let something out or less than the charge of surveyor's price, which wasn't then part of the overall fee that we're trying to develop.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else in favour? Councillor
Thank you. Just in relation to the flower beds and hanging baskets, 5B, which was a former matter arising. I'd like to congratulate and thank the staff for a fantastic display this year. Looks really good. Thank you.
anything else, President? Moving on to page 9, that's right. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Motion to
Yes, Chairman, item 6I, following the theme from staff strengthening tennis, hasn't such a need to be arranged or is any further being yes. The resolution that you were going to bring in about the other third.
Yes, I have. So I've had detailed conversations with 3 commercially interested parties who want to support us in developing the site. Some of those parties are interested in effectively taking control and running it and making a profit as a result of managing our site. One of the interested parties is actually interested in supporting us and doing more from a community perspective. All 3 parties are connected to the LTA in the sense of they're aware of the grants that we could call upon, or they could call upon, depending on who manages it. Over the next few months, and this is a priority, it's not an ultimate priority for me, I'd like to present the paper to members, giving a kind of vision of the site. And that vision will be moulded by officers in consultation with members. But my preference, and I haven't yet been fed back to members, is I feel that this is a community resource that we, as the council, should continue to own, should continue to manage, but it should be supported by those people who have a more detailed knowledge of kind of opportunities around developing the site. But I would like to retain ownership and get the benefits for the council, yeah, and then to redevelop that and to replow that money back into the site and make it look a lot better. I've also got some indicative senses of the cost as well about how we develop the site, but it's not opportunity to say that at this point. Thank you.
anything else on page 12? Moving on back to items for consideration, and so item 6. The Auckland storage building, we have an update from public comment.
Yeah, working with the what kind of size building they would need. We're looking at sort of working a way of getting rid of the new financial year. We get put it in.
Will there be, at what point do you think we'll be able to report that to the commission as to the focus action that's been done? Regulation focus.
I'll be actually waiting to do it before that. I was saying.
So, there's no doubt that there is an active interest on the allotment association to have some form of building as you enter the site around the. We have an indicative sense of cost we look back once. Yeah. Our preference would be, rather than building something that is in the sense of kind of extremely permanent feature, our preference would be to have something that's of good quality, yeah, that is secure, bearing in mind where that's going to be. You'd never be vandal proof, but you build something that's robust enough that people can use, and it's going to be safe and secure, yeah. So we had that sense before, didn't we? Yeah. We need to firm up the costs, we need to firm up the design, and then come back with some recommendations. Yeah. And I know you've spoken with the Allotment Association about their preference associated with this. Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Fulton.
Thank you. I mean, just one thought in terms of this, and I'm sure this will feature in your report, but in terms of having a new building in one way or another increase our costs, whether it's a one-off cost to put it in there or the ongoing maintenance costs associated with it. And we need to, although we do have an obligation as a council to provide allotments, I don't think that obligation necessarily extends to providing a building. And therefore, we need to make sure that any incremental costs associated with providing that building are recouped from the allotment holders.
Yeah, I mean, my sense, and it needs to be proven, and we did actually, by coincidence, the chair of the Allotment Association has a lot of experience in these type of matters. Indeed, is in the business association. He's kind of aware of how to build something like this. I think the sense is probably about a range between 4,000 and 6,000. The council could going forward purchase some form of appropriate building, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we take on board the fact that actually, it's not a statutory responsibility. But my sense of the Allotment Association is very, very supportive. And indeed, when we come back with our real support, we'll have a sense about how we might need to consider any future charge.
I would suggest something as simple as a 20-foot container and just camouflage it as some attractive plants, because that would be extremely vandal resistant and also weather resistant.
We consider that.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, next item then is item 16. Again, important public management, development track, improvement and maintenance.
Yeah, I managed to get an extension certificate so that we go and use road plans. That was the intention. It's all went very swimmingly until the point where a 20-ton lorry can't get in through the gate. So that's knocked that on the head a little bit. So we're trying to find other ways of redoing the track work in there. We did have a really good price negotiated as well. So it was like £19.20 per ton. We were going to have 100 tons delivered with this close, but you just can't. The lorry itself cannot put it into the day, and that was the whole big factor. So a lot of hard work and didn't get anywhere.
But as an addition to that, I think we recognise that this is actually one of the most important things that we can do with the allotment. And we've had lots of conversations with the Allotment Association recognising that. As Jonathan said, there's been some really good work around this. Just remind me of the construction company again.
It was really much over. So the farming, road planning, top of the roads around here.
But I think what's important for members to understand is, unfortunately, because of wage acres, when they effectively farm this crop surface, there's a very tight process associated with it. And even if we were to procure a lorry that is half the size of what they would use, they do not want to build that into the process. It's a very efficient process at the moment. So one of the things we looked at was, how can we make this happen? Can we get something that's smaller that can pick up the reused asphalt, bring it back and then lay it? and we can't. So the secondary option that Jonathan's looking into is, rather than taking off a plane of an existing road, we may have to buy something potentially from what we might call large builders merchants, something that's, yeah, some form of land. We need to, that would be more expensive.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's
Just a question on that. If the difficulty is a particular vehicle, size of vehicle they use getting into a particular place, and if they're thinking of getting alternative means of getting there, would it not be possible for them to deliver this to another site?
So that's one of the opportunities that we've looked into. But again, that's easier said than done. Our overall need is probably about 100 tons, probably first go. Even if you take that incremental elements, it's not so easy to find a place that would allow that level of that we can effectively pick up and then reuse. So we're looking at options around
The other thing is you have to get an exemption certificate for every site where you're going to be complaints because they're a waste product. So you have to go through the environment and get an exemption.
It's not easy to look at.
It's a bit of a process.
The most important thing, I think, in the message is that you've been treating it as a priority.
Yeah,
So it's all going to be a lot of this. But we need to make sure it happens in a reasonable time, because that's the other thing for us.
Council, obviously waste products. Use the cost of actually bringing type 1 instead, isn't waste products. I don't think it's much difference in price, but per time.
Sorry,
Type 1,
yeah, it's, again, use type 1.
it's not a waste product.
No, but this, yeah, that's right. That's the next thing I'm looking into is sort of a byproduct like type 1, type 2. Type 2 is a bit too big for type 1, certainly. That's my next process, and what I'm looking at next. Failing that, it's going to have to be an active where we can use it managed.
If you want to contact, find a contact.
I'll appreciate that. No problem with it. Small plan. Yeah, I'm working hard to get part of the wall be able to be used for a lot of it. So I'm just waiting on confirmation back from, back from Steve. Yeah, Lorraine Howard and David Bauer, so I'm in touch with them tonight. Change the thing about.
Would you mind, I'll reinforce it in here. So, the council is very conscious that it has an obligation in that to ensure that we have a proper number of allotments available to our town. We're going to hear a report in the next 20 minutes from my colleague, which gives you a sense of how many people are on the waiting list. There's a significant number. We're trying to look at creative options around how we can reuse the allotments that we have, where we can take larger allotments and split them into two, where we can give notice to allotment holders if their allotments have not been maintained consistent with their agreement. When you look at all of that, though, there's a clear recognition here, which is there isn't enough plots. One area to consider sensitively with the allotment association and the broader community is there a proportion, and we've done a site visit for this, a proportion of the wildflower meadow that we may be able to open up and use for allotments. And obviously, Jonathan is seeking input from central beds. We've also sought input from the association. What I've stressed to Jonathan and other officers is this is not going to happen overnight. It's a very sensitive issue. We need detailed reports from members who need to be thoughtful about the consequences, and we need to talk to our community about whether they will be in support of this. So it's not something we're going to do. At the same time, what I've asked Jonathan to do is to creatively think about any other open green spaces that are nearby, and ask some other options that we may potentially be able to use. Because the numbers that we're trying our waiting list now, if I recall,
We've got 66 people on waiting.
that's a lot.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things to play. One is the short-term issue, and I know we've partly looking at that in the next item. But also, I think, again, there's the option to look more tactically at sites that we own, sort of Wildflower Meadow, and then potentially also looking at, I believe we know the sites that are owned by CDC in the town, and potentially looking at those as well. More strategically, I think there's a bit around the new developments as well that are coming. So I know from the plans I've seen for if the Land North development does go ahead, that they've got some allotments included within that site plan. I don't know whether the intention would be for those to council or whether they would be planning to run them privately. But also land lease as well, and I'm not sure what the master plans and things for land lease include in terms of allotments, but certainly we need to make sure that there's provision within the boundary of land lease, because that in itself, with the number of houses that will be coming, will stimulate a lot more demand as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the 4 allotment plots that we might get.
I know it's not a lot.
It's a drop in the ocean, unfortunately. Not that we want them in their houses anyway. Just a couple of points. So I think we just need to be careful. I know this has been mentioned, but I think we need to be very careful because the Wildflower Meadow is allocated as a protected green site in our emerging neighbourhood plan. And we're setting a slightly dangerous precedent if we go and undermine a potentially protected site in our neighbourhood plan, which is not yet made, but we need to be thinking as though it will be, as it hopefully will be very soon. So I think that's point one. Point two is probably just echoing what Councillor Fulham just said, thinking very carefully about what potential future demand is going to look like as we expect this way to experience considerably more houses. I suspect 66 is the shortest the waiting list is going to be for some time, and it's only going to get longer. So in terms of priorities for this committee, and I know we have various things which are ongoing, but certainly in the medium term, I think we should be thinking about what other land is available. Bearing in mind we don't actually own the land where the allotments are at the moment, central Bedford, but we can perhaps look at some of our own or acquiring more.
Sorry.
Well, just following on from what Councillor Page said, I think the fact is, it is true, I believe, that Central Bedford owns a lot of agricultural land in Biggleswade Parish or Bedford. And it would be worth pursuing, I think, with Central Bedford, whether they could release a small portion of that, because we're not talking about a huge, vast site, are we? I mean, so when leases come up for renewal or something with the farmers to take part of it and rent it to others a lot, it doesn't need to be in the same location as the existing farmers, does it? So that's an angle I think we could pursue.
Totally agree with what you're saying. And in Jonathan's hard work, we'll need to look at any and all options and work in close partnership with Central Base. And I know exactly what it is. I think there is some old school regarding previous allotment areas that now freed off that we also need to look at. There's nothing firm on the table. We just recognise that we need to do better and offer up a greater volume of allotments when we can.
Okay. And we'll move on then to the allotments, item 16, allotment plot maintenance issues.
So I've done a report because I've done a little bit of work around the road allotments. There is a huge demand for both half plots and for full plots. There's 37 people on the waiting list for half plots and 29 full plots, and there's quite a few people like. So in total, there is 66 people, as I said before, are waiting to vote for the plots. I have identified about 22 plots that are overgrown. Now, some of these people have already had overgrown letters. None of them ever come back to me. Obviously, we didn't want to do too much for the book tonight, where I'm hoping I'll be able to get some direction about whether we can now force people to either give up their plots now or make some improvements within a limited time. There's also a question around payment side. So some invoices went out in the middle of August, and so far to date, only 119 people have actually paid, and 82 have still not paid. So take that into consideration. I mean, what we're hoping for is we may be able to ascertain another time limit for when we can say, okay, another reminder gets sent, say another month, and after that we then say, please give up the plot, or if there's any other alternative we can take. At the moment, as I say, I'd like to be able to help these people because we're not meeting the needs of the community at the moment since the pandemic. Every day I'm putting more people on the appointment list, so it really is a case of trying to help those that are waiting.
Before I throw out the question, perhaps the town council.
Just reiterate a couple of points that you have in the report. The council has a process. When allotments are quite a sensitive issue. Very cognizant of that. So I think what's fair to say that the county and other administrators have written out on a number of occasions to people, highlighting the fact that they're not what they say their block, and capturing that information properly to recognise where they are at the time. It feels reasonable that we should firstly share this information with them, so we get some direction. But actually, if that is the case, and people have no wish to maintain their own, or don't want the allotment any longer, then no. As long as we give people reasonable notice, it's clearly a contractual requirement within that that they do maintain it appropriately. So, this is not like something that we've tripped over. I think we've given plenty of notices. We ask people, please come back to us. Please come back to us if you would like to keep the allotment. And please communicate with us if you need any help in maintenance, etc. For those cases that Karen just described, there has been zero communication back. Then there's the second issue, is as I was saying, which is when we raise an external invoice to any of the then there's a process that we adopt connected to following up that debt. So we do have a number of letters that go out politely and say, we tried to send money back to you, I need forthcoming in advance. So there is a defined process of following up debt. So there's quite a significant number of people who have not given good reason to say, actually, we don't want to pay.
Two questions, if I may. Firstly, thank you for your report, which is excellent. So my first question, or more the thought, if we have a problem with people paying on time, I wonder whether we should consider a discount from the payment, that implies you end up paying rather more if you don't. That might mean adjusting the fees, but you could see how that may encourage people to pay properly and reduce the time spent chasing people up. But my question was around the backlog. So 66 in the queue, and you think 6 to 9 months to clear that entire backlog, which seems quite optimistic. So I was just sort of wondering on what basis you're confident that you can issue 66 allotments in the course of sort of 9 months. Is that based on some assumptions around what we agree here, or how do you think we do that?
So the way that we're doing it at the moment is we are relying on people to give up their plots at the moment. So we're not taking those overgrown plots into account. So that's why we're saying to people it's about 6 to 9 months, because we can't give them a definitive answer. So we're just relying on those people to give us their termination agreement to us. And that's what we're basing it on. So, and we know that, you know, there is a turnover of people that do give up their jobs after a couple of years. They can't do it anymore, they can't afford it. That's how we're sort of thinking. And it's that's how it is at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bowden first, Councillor Foster, and then Councillor Collins.
Firstly, around the overdue invoices, so I think it's quite clear that if we are issuing an invoice and we have been issuing reminders to our standard process, can you just very quickly say when do they get those reminders at what stages?
I don't have that information in front of me, but we have now, Tracy, who's our debt collection officer. I'm very happy to show you all the contents of the standard procedure.
So I would be interested to do that another time, but essentially what I would say is if they've had an invoice, they've had at least one reminder a month later, and payment or communication is not forthcoming of any sort, then I think it would be appropriate to issue notice on the ones where they're not paid. In terms of the ones that are overgrown, again, a question really on that in terms of what we actually are saying in the letter. Are we giving them any form of a specific deadline, or is it more just a general, if you don't keep it up, bring it back into condition, then we have the right to terminate? I would hope that we give some form of deadline that we can then act upon, rather than being a more open-ended request.
Can you be particular about what's going on in the letter?
Yeah, so the letter does say that we give them another month to bring their plots back up, and then we do another, we go around again and do another investigation after that month, and we take photographs of those plots, and then we've done much more than that since then. Hence,
there's a kind of difficult conflict here, which is we would love people to carry on using their plot. But at the same time, we have a number of people who are basically saying to us, please give us some money. We're very keen to do that. There's that gentle balance between the two. And I think if there's sufficient evidence that we've gone through the proper process for those people who maybe don't want to maintain their property anymore, and if there's evidence, we want to make sure there is. And we should remember support, free them off and let it reuse it from others.
I think you make a good point there. And it's, for me, it's what is the need for member support? Okay. And my reason behind this question is we have a process. So if we tell you've got a month and you don't maintain your allotment, you don't bring it up to scratch, we'll give you another month. Process says at that point we can serve notice. So my question is, why is that coming to us to make a decision on that? Is it right that the officers have the authority to make that decision? Why is it coming to us to say, you want us to say, we authorise you to implement the terms and conditions? For me, that is if we've got a process and we've agreed that process, that's what I'm trying to get my head around.
Would you want to come back on that point? I'm very happy.
So, I'm very cognizant of how sensitive we are on the issue of this. There is absolutely no reason why officers and I can't make the decision associated with that. And we have done in the past. I'm taking the opportunity of sharing the problem, the challenge with the politicians, so that you also understand the challenges that we have, and to seek your support in making an operational decision.
Can I just go on then, Councillor?
Just very much following on that point. So far, it's all been down to paying of invoices and state of the allotments. The point that hasn't been raised is what the exact terms of the agreement with the allotment holders, because presumably there are license agreements with the allotment holders on how they should contain the plot, when they should pay, and when I recollect the period of a year, and I can't remember the start date, whether it's 1st of September to 30th of August. There's something to do with the season, growing seasons. It may be in October, but surely if we've got a license agreement in place, they forfeit their license. B, if they've breached their license, we should be taking proceedings naturally down to the officers to implement if that is the case. I appreciate the officers want political direction, but if you have the correct agreements in place, people comply with their agreements, they can remain. If they're not complying with those agreements, then they should either remedy the defects either by paying or tidying up their allotments. If they don't comply, then unfortunately they should be vacating their allotments, and you're somebody who will actually fulfil their obligations taken in place.
Which I believe is almost repeating what Councillor Foster said. More expand.
Before the standing version, but one thing I haven't heard is about what the degree, so.
Okay.
I think Councillor Brown was actually before me, Chair.
I just want to make a point about three categories of people we could say for simplifying and that is those with overgrown allotments, those who have not paid, but there must be some that have not paid and have overgrown allotments. We just want that they are prioritised. I'm fully supportive of any action you take, I'm sure members around this table.
Okay, so I'd like to make a proposal to this is close. So I would propose that we support the officers to make the necessary decisions to serve notice on those allotment holders who have failed to pay despite reminders and or failed to upkeep their allotments, subject to a reminder as well, so that at least 2 letters and failed to respond. And then a supplementary to that is I think we ought to review our allotment policy to make sure that these are clearly written into that policy so that it truly is then an operational matter going forward.
Okay. Some people second that. Second by Councillor.
Do we have a view? So we have 22 which are overgrown, 82 who have not paid, and there's probably some crossover there. Do we have an idea of how many of the, let's say, 22 have been given 2 letters, or how many of the 82 have been given 2 letters? Because I'm reading, the report spells out pretty clearly that they've received a letter. All of the 22 have received a letter, but I'm not getting any indication that a second letter has been received. So if I'm interpreting Councillor Pullenger's proposal correctly, to my mind, those 22, if they've not yet received a second letter, should basically be given a final written warning with a deadline. And if they have not met it, and it should be a tight deadline, it should be 2 weeks or something like that. And if they haven't met it, then cheerio. That's my first comment. Again, then on the 82 who have not yet paid, when were they required to? That was in the middle of last month, I think. 1st of September. Okay, so they haven't paid yet. Have they been given? I'd like to know again roughly how many have been given that second letter, because I would guess they haven't. Okay. Okay. So I guess what I'm getting at is, because Councillor Pullenger has just made a fair proposal, but I'm not aware of anybody receiving any sort of second letter yet. Therefore, we probably need to send them. That's just my comment.
We come back from town for a while, then after that, I'll come back to Councillor.
This is an interesting debate. Karen will be able to tell us how many reminder letters they've had. But actually, if they had 3 or 4, I still think it's the right thing to do to give them one more opportunity to correct whether or not they do or don't want to stay. Going back to Councillor Storm's comment, I can assure you that allotments have been a particular area of focus for us for quite some time now. And the documentation we have is very robust and it's very clear about what we worth reflecting, as I haven't done for a while, about what the financial elements are connected to payment, because I can't practically remember. But what I can be very, very clear about is that the obligation is there to properly maintain. Yeah? And when you go and look at these allotments, we're not talking about the odd weed, we're talking about something significant that says actually they're not enjoying this space anymore, they're not maintaining it. Yeah? And obviously what the council does do, because it should do, is when we do an audit of that, we take proper records. Jonathan's team go out and have a look, our admin team go out and have a look, and we take photographic evidence of the state of a particular plot for future reference. So Karen, can you tell us, irrelevant of that, how many people have had how many records?
So, I think it's 18 have had letters.
How many records have they had?
So they had one in the past and they had another one on the 18th of July.
So 2 letters to all 18 so far. So even irrelevant of that, my own preference, and members can vote on it, would be still, even if you've had 2 letters, it feels the right and proper thing to say, actually, here's one more go. Okay.
I think councillor Knight wishes to add some.
Thank you. So, thanks for the details on the letters. So to my mind, anyone should receive at least 2 letters, and the last letter they receive should make it clear it is their final warning with the deadline. So if someone's had 4, but none of them say final, they need to have a 5th. To my mind, everyone needs to receive a final warning. Thank you.
Councillor Paul wants to say something, and perhaps we just hear him first, councillor Paul, and then if there are any more questions. Councillor Paul. If I understand correctly, this will be sent out in July. You get my payment first September.
Okay. So I think my proposal substantially stands. I think I would add the words of Councillor Knight in that the final letter should be effectively a final warning that failure to respond will result in the licence being revoked. One final comment on was, I've forgotten what it was now, so not that, it might come to it, but that was essentially the substance of proposal.
Last thing for me, does that match our current policy, and is that consistent with what we've done in the past? If it is, I'm fine with that, but I just want to make sure we're not, by saying a final letter, is that different to our current policy? If it's not different to our policy, that's fine. I just don't think we'll be changing the policy on the hook for changing the part of that. Will the final letter be sent by someone or post so that we can evidence the fact that actually received it?
Yes, please.
Yes, to Councillor Storm. Yeah. In answer to Councillor Foster's question, we're obliged to send out a letter to people to notify them for condition, not for the opportunity to rectify things. We've done that, but obviously what we're conscious of, as I said it before, is allotments are an extremely sensitive issue, and we need to handle them sensitively. And if we need to send out 3 letters or even 4 letters to give people a chance of that, and I feel that this is the right thing to do. And I do agree with members that the next letter that goes out needs to be very clear. This is the final opportunity. We don't want to take your allotment away from you. We would love you to stay. We would love you to maintain your allotment and enjoy it. And we know with COVID times it's even more important than it was before. But we also have a responsibility for people who don't currently have an allotment, who would love to have one. So there needs to be a balance.
Okay.
I think if I just summarise the proposal again, and hopefully we can take a vote. So my proposal is that all those who have already been written to, either for overgrown allotments or for having been reminded that they've not paid their invoice, should receive a final letter advising them that if they fail to rectify the situation, that the licence will be cancelled. The second part of the proposal was that we should look at updating the policy to take into account these views around how this should be operationalised in the future, so that it is truly an operational matter. And not part of the proposal, but just as an aside on that, the thing I'd forgotten was there needs to be something that possibly isn't quite there yet, which is the direct tie-up between the process where the invoices are being chased, which is a standard format like I said that will be going as that process, and the one which will be the final warning for not paying. But that's again operational.
Okay, thank you. We have a resolution, we have a second.
I only have one comment. I'm so sorry. Does staff want any indication from councillors about what the timeline should be for a final? So we're writing, so we're issuing a final letter.
I think
We're comfortable. Fine.
Okay. So we have a resolution, we have a second. All those in favour? I think that's unanimous. Thank you.
Express.
Okay, now we move on to operation side. Back to the start of the roll for our budget roll.
still want to pay back to £5,000 to put the signage up on the time tracks and what the roads should be called. It's changed from Kennel Farm Road to go into exactly what the developers have used, but so we need to change that. So that's what I'm waiting. I'm still waiting for Paul to get back, and it's also about the plan design.
Could you perhaps to benefit and research the sort of signs we asked them?
We're actually looking for a proper road direction sign that says a lot.
Offsets away, and then a further sign off the other way. Once you block this. Those are the signs we're talking about.
I think that's a good idea. Also, maybe at the very entrance to the allotments, now that we have, some branding that we use for car parks, etc., standard colours, designs, welcome to Biggleswade allotments run by Biggleswade Town Council. If that's a third sign that, really makes clear that it's part of a service offering that we're responsible for.
We may well, I think we wouldn't brand all of the numbers of the plots. It's coming up.
All the time.
Oh,
Yeah. Right, you're not there.
It's like I say, it's not on the agenda, but as it's a signage related thing, it's a bit technical, so I'd like to know where we stand with the plot numbering, the sign, bearing in mind the sort of the inconsistency of the numbering, as it has been in the past, and where we're up.
Don't confuse it.
Well, I'm totally get that, yes.
well, this is not exactly direction sign, you've got a sign, so perhaps.
Again,
Our managers are,
tenuous.
No, it's all the owners of each allotment and then renumber it in a sequential fashion. So it actually helps me out, and anybody else who trying to find them.
okay, can I just quickly go in there? If I look past single plots are split into half plots, so because the numbering scheme, we make sure it allows us in the future to split plots without having to shift numbers.
So it's our will be an A and B rather than back.
Thank you. We'll move on now. We have a new starring role, the head of governance and strategic partnerships. We can tell us about Apollo Gardens play area negotiation, structure and financial settlement.
We identified the legal person in CPC, section analysis, lead on the player. Next with them a couple of weeks ago, we stressed the very long period of time. The urgency for us,
Can you hear all right, Michelle?
I'm struggling to hear you.
Could you perhaps stand up and speak? That's really loud.
Thank you. So having met with them, stress the urgency of following on to come back to us with the status currently of how much funding there is exactly on that, which is compensation and everything. As of this morning, they came back saying, unfortunately, they haven't been able to give us money yet, but they're still going to be looking into this as possibly can for us. Can I just add, so in the meantime, this week, the public law manager and myself will be attending all the gardens to conduct a site assessment and just see condition. Just to expand slightly on what Quinn said, I've been concerned for a very long period of time that this is an outstanding issue. We've had obviously conversations with the local solicitor who helped us. It sounds eminently sensible and straightforward from my perspective, and that is number one, as Karim has said, clarify with a functional lead under section 106, because section 106 is broken down by function. Yeah. Being very clear about the amount of money that was transferred from the contractor to CBC and to Marriott. Number two, be absolutely clear that as we look to take on this playground, that the state of repair of it is fair and reasonable and is proportionate to the amount of money that will transfer to the council. Once we've satisfied ourselves with both areas, then we need to understand the legality of moving the playground and then properly developing. What I've also asked Corinne to do, with Philip's support, is to set out clearly and precisely what is the process for the council of adopting a number of contracted play areas going forward. And I know from speaking to Corinne, when he spoke to CBC, that they postulated that there might be as many as 9 playground areas that the council could look to support. Personally, I would love to take on all of those play areas if they're in the right state of repair and that the money is coming from 106, a portion of that. And I'd love to expand our opportunity to look after these sites on behalf of the community to make sure that everybody can take advantage of it and manage it more collaboratively in that sense. So I think the main message here is that we recognise it's important, but we are reliant on CBC confirming the facts.
Okay, now we'll take the point from Julie or anything. Oh, sorry, Councillor Straw.
Yes, I am concerned about the time it's taking, in particular, the fact that we'd actually taken action, we got there, and we're expecting money, and we paid money out to get there. And it seems to be that there seems to be some kind of logjam in CBC, which to my mind is totally unacceptable. I think we may not have been entirely up to speed with everything, which may be part, but now we are clearly up to speed on the, I wonder whether we could be asking our CBC councils to put some pressure on, because it strikes me quite ridiculous that we're here so long after we've actually progressed it.
Okay, thank you.
When you mentioned something, Jack, small water. Ordinarily, I would agree with everything Councillor Storms has said, but I think I'm not wishing to make blame. I think the council needs to take responsibility. I think of the two, it's our responsibility for the blame rather than the CBC's. And only recently have we started to get that conversation with the CBC. So I don't think there's any blame in that. Okay, thank you.
I've got comments on that, I will then look at Julie, which I think is more in the comment. And there will be a clear policy, with regard to the amount of money we expect to get, and there will be a formula for taking recycling. Clearly established in the policy. Items for information that are known. We have no limited comment. Consider, so this part of the meeting.
So I just want to put the recording off.
Yes, yes.
Um,